Happy New Year, everyone, and welcome to Media Men Online. I am Dan. This is Isaiah.
Happy New Year.
2025. Unbelievable.
Quarter of the way through the century.
That's so weird.
I just thought of it on the spot, but maybe we'll do like a best game. So far. Fun to do. Everything from 2000. Not this episode, but maybe something to look forward to.
Soon we're going to start doing live streams. We're going to start doing... the other day, I was going to come on here, I think it was on Christmas Day, and do a little bit of... I was going to play some Pokemon Showdown and just kind of hang out with everyone. I was having technical difficulties, so because I was already here for Christmas Day anyways. But there were some issues. There were some things going on, so...
Big plans for us this year.
Yeah. So we're going to start a new X account. I was thinking maybe we can either lean into that Screen Players thing. The channel will still be Media Men Online. But I think our podcast should have a separate... Like, it should be the Screen Players podcast or whatever. And then our reviews will still go to the Media Men Online channel. Or we can use the name that we used when I started this in 2013. The Undecidables. Do you have a preference either way? Let's start with some news. Get that out of the way. Everyone, Happy New Year. Hope you're starting off the year well.
Yep. Not starting off well, though, is The Batman Part 2, which has been delayed again. So it's going from 2026 to 2027 now.
Was it 2022 that the first part came out?
2023, I believe. There's some script issues with the movie, which is either a very good or a very bad sign. Because that either means that things are just not going well and they're delaying it in hopes to fix it, or it could mean that, hey, we recognize some problems and we want to fix those to make the movie better. So I tend to try to be positive about things like this, where, hey, a game delayed can eventually be great, whereas a game released too early will always be bad. And it's just kind of that mentality where I'd rather you delay it to make it better. I just watched The Penguin this year, which I liked a lot, and I saw it as a good holdover until the next Batman movie, but now we're going to have to wait over 2 years for it now.
Here's the thing, though. I was the same way when they delayed Mission Impossible, The Final Reckoning. And now it's almost here already. Time just... Especially if you were to sit there and think about The Batman every day, it's going to feel like it'll be here forever. But there's so many things that are coming out, and it'll be here before you know. It does suck because I did love this movie. The movie was absolutely fantastic.
Outside that one line of dialogue.
Yeah.
Right there. That one line of dialogue.
Yeah, of course, that's on the damn thing. I'm not logged in, but I think I give it a 4 out of 5 as well. But absolutely incredible. Again, just like you said, just to reiterate, and we'll move on. Keep it in as long as it needs, but do it right. 2027 is a long way away, so they might be like rebuilding it from the ground up at this point. That is a long time.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, so I saw 2 movies this week. Actually, 3, all released in 2024. And I probably should have talked about them in order of when I saw them, but Nosferatu is the big movie that came out this week. Gothic tale of obsession between a haunted young woman and the terrifying vampire infatuated with her, causing untold horror in its wake. Now, let me get this out of the way first. I never saw the original from the 1920s. Yeah. I love Robert Eggers. I've seen the 4 films. He has a couple of short films I've never seen, but out of the 4 films I've seen, I love them. This is probably the second best one, because The Northman is the best movie. But here's my thing. I'm going to see this movie a second time. Yeah, maybe we'll do a review. Here's the thing. I went into it expecting certain things, and I was left feeling disappointed. But when I sat and thought about it later on, and thought what they were actually going for, I felt better about it. So my plan is to understand now what I'm actually. This is the exact same thing that happened with Heretic. With Heretic, I thought it was a Saw type situation where he's got these girls like trapped, like, and they got to unlock puzzles and stuff using their faith to get out. Whatever.
Mhm.
It didn't turn into that, so I was a bit disappointed. But I went back and saw it. The second time I saw it, I absolutely loved the movie. One of my favorite movies of the year. I feel like it's going to be the same with this. I'm not going to explain what I was expecting versus what I got. But I was expecting one thing. I got another. I felt disappointed for a couple hours. I sat and let it simmer. I'm going to see this again probably maybe 2 weeks from today. I'll be in Texas for 3 days, but maybe Thursday, Friday, or Saturday next week. All right.
And I did hear, though, Bill Skarsgård is unrecognizable.
It's so funny. He's one of the best actors of... I mean, you jump from It to Boy Kills World to... He was the villain in John Wick 4 to this. He plays 4 characters. Like, when you see The Rock, he's The Rock in every movie. But this guy is a chameleon. It's incredible.
So good. Alrighty. So, a movie that I didn't think I'd ever watch. I was at my family's lake house, and my brother threw this movie on, saying that I'd really like it. So, I ended up throwing on. I'd never heard of it before, even. It's got some big names in it. J.K. Simmons, Jason Schwartzman, a couple of other big people, Rashida Jones from The Office and Parks and Rec. I thought I was getting this typical kind of movie. But what's really fun about this movie, which I guess I'll explain, since it should hopefully convince you guys to get this, because it's not just like, oh, another Christmas movie with a Santa Claus guy doing a thing. This movie is kind of like an alternative take on how the tradition of Christmas got started. Because it's not like, oh, this guy's, J.K. Simmons plays Klaus. And it's not like, oh, he works up on the North Pole and has elves helping him. He's not some kind of mystical person either. He's just a toy maker. And it's kind of like, okay, where did all these traditions that we have about Christmas and Santa Claus get started? And just to tell you like the general idea of the plot of the movie, it's rich son is very spoiled, and he's told, hey, and he works for basically a postman conglomerate type thing, where it's just like, hey, he's the son of this guy who runs the post business in like the entirety of Europe. And he's like, hey, either you get the post office working in this super far recluse town, or you're cut off. You have a year to deliver you have a year to get 5,000 letters delivered, is essentially how it is. And you think of it as the typical, oh, he's a jerk at first, and then he grows to have a heart of gold and learns the meaning of Christmas. I'm not going to say whether that does or doesn't happen, but that's not really what the movie's about. It has this other kind of interesting thing going on behind the scenes, and just really good character work in general. And it was nominated for an Academy Award for 2019 for Best Picture. It lost to Toy Story 4, which I think is a shame, because I do not like Toy Story 4 at all. There's a bunch of other good movies on that list as well. But I actually do think it's very well deserved, and I really, really enjoyed the movie quite a bit, and I would highly recommend it. Even though we're a little bit past Christmas time, it's still a really fun, good time.
All right, Sonic the Hedgehog 3, 2024, Jeff Fowler. The voice for Knuckles, it still sucks, but Sonic and Shadow, two characters played by Jim Carrey, Dr. Robotnik, and Dr. Robotnik's grandfather. How old is Robotnik supposed to be in these movies? Because his grandfather is like, he looks like he's maybe 70.
Well, like this is essentially the plot of Sonic Adventure 2, but I think Robotnik is like 35, and his grandfather's like
played
65.
by a 60-year-old. This movie turns out one of two ways that it could turn out. Both of them are in your mind right now, and both are exactly what you would expect. Now, is that a bad thing? Not particularly. This movie is right in line with the other two on the quality, the voice acting. I feel like it's better than the second one, but the first one still is special, especially after what they did with Sonic, turning him from like a rabid monster thing into looking like actual Sonic.
Well, I was saying, imagine what all these characters would look like if we still had those character designs. We wouldn't have it because there wouldn't. I say there would be no Sonic 2 or Sonic 3.
There would be no Tails, no Knuckles, no Shadow. But here's the thing: the movie is fun. Jim Carrey is awesome. I think that Keanu Reeves is. I don't really know what voice I had in my head for Shadow, but it works. He's got to be kind of dark and brooding, and that's exactly what we get. The movie is very predictable, but it's predictable in a fun way. It's a fun movie for kids, but there's also some adult humor, which is the perfect way to do these types of movies. Yeah, voice acting, the visuals, everything, excellent. I think that if you like the first and the second one, there's no chance that you'll come out of this movie disappointed. But the only thing I don't like is Idris Elba as Knuckles. He does have a bit more personality in this movie, where he's kind of he does have it in the second movie, but they amplify it a little bit here, so he's a little bit more charming than he was. But people like you and I who go and see, we don't go to see them for quality of the script, right? We go and see them to have fun, and maybe a little bit of nostalgia sprinkled in. That's exactly what you get. Is it a perfect movie? No. Is it a fun movie? Hell yes. If you haven't seen any of the Sonic movies, I would say definitely start with the first one so you can kind of get used to what you're going to get. But it's a fantastic movie. I was surprised to see this one on the list.
I know. I wasn't
15th time.
I wasn't planning on watching it. Well, this is my only second time watching it. I will say it was actually kind of entertaining watching it a second time, knowing what the twist was. Because the way that certain characters act make a lot more sense now that I know who is who. Like the character there, June, I think it's June 26th. Or even like her name makes sense. We can talk spoilers for this, right? Because it's been out for a little bit. Yeah, so spoilers ahead for Boy Kills World, but it's like, you know, that's the day that he disappeared and she thinks he died. So that's why she calls herself that. And, you know, she has dialogue throughout, and that's why, like, when she sees him fight, she is like interrogating him very straightforward because she thinks, oh, he works for the shaman who killed my brother. I need to get this information out. And just that, where it's like, oh, it makes sense now, or, you know, it makes more sense why she's acting this way. And I enjoy it when a movie makes more sense and it works on a second watch. But I mean, it's still super fun to watch. H. John Benjamin, still fantastic. Just I don't think this movie would work the same way if it didn't have that premise of him not talking, having the voice of Archer be his inner voice. It works so well with the tone the movie is going for, which is a serious action movie with a layer of comedy kind of like spread on top. You know, you get that with some of the voiceover, and then like with the guy who mumbles, and some of those fun visuals you get out of it.
Whether or not you've seen it twice, we've talked about this movie.
Oh, yeah.
I edited this, talking about this so many times, so I'm just going to leave that, direct you to previous episodes for my thoughts. All right, Juror number 2. This is the best movie that I've seen out of the 3. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Nicholas Hoult, J.K. Simmons, the lady from, what the hell's her name? Toni Collette. It is a movie about this young man who has a pregnant wife who's lost a couple of kids through miscarriages. Directed by Clint Eastwood, by the way.
Oh, wow.
Lost a couple of kids through miscarriages, and she's like on the brink of giving birth to their first child. Like finally having a healthy pregnancy, and she's days away. He gets selected as a juror, and as their spoilers for this movie, for the things I have to talk about, obviously he gets picked for the jury, and as the trial is unfolding, he's starting to realize that it's a murder trial. He's starting to realize that he, in fact, Nicholas Hoult, may have been the cause inadvertently of the woman's death. So there's an internal struggle of, do I come forward? He visits a lawyer. Like, what would be my consequences? He's weighing it against his pregnant wife who's days away from their first child. Do I go to prison for this? Do I say anything? was I even really there? J.K. Simmons is another one of the jurors. He's an ex-cop, starts to investigate. It is a fantastic movie with, I would say there are about 12. I don't know the exact number of jurors, but I would guess 12. And then there's the lawyers. So it's a very small cast, and it kind of has 12 Angry Men vibes to it. But Nicholas Hoult is the only holdout in a hung jury. Or like, not everyone says guilty except him, because he knows things that he can't tell. Or does he? It is fantastic. Nicholas Hoult is great. We've seen him in many things. The Menu, which is my favorite movie.
And Nosferatu as well.
He's having a good week.
What's this on? Because I didn't see it in theaters anymore.
I just watched it on HBO Max.
Okay, because I've been hearing good stuff about this, but with that kind of recommendation, I need... Oh, Kiefer Sutherland's in it.
Yes, Kiefer Sutherland is the lawyer that Nicholas Hoult visits for the information.
I need to definitely check this out.
So, now, I say it's the best movie I've seen this week because it's pending my Nosferatu rewatch, but this is a fantastic movie. The acting is excellent across the board. Clint Eastwood and the writers kind of play with the audience. Like, is Nicholas Hoult remembering something, or is he kind of like projecting himself in the place of who the guy on trial is? Can't recommend this highly enough. What's the lady's name? This might be her. Yeah, Zoe Deutsch. I've seen her in a bunch of stuff.
Who's she in Zombie? Oh, Double Tap.
She's the pregnant wife. Can't recommend this enough. It's a lot of fun, and it's one of those movies. Everyone in this, it kind of makes you think about the judicial process as a whole as well, because everyone except Nicholas Hoult is like, okay, this guy's guilty. We don't want to be here. We want to get on with our lives, which makes you think if you were in that position, you're an innocent man, and these people just got other stuff to do. Like, how is this the judicial system? It really makes you feel weird. It's a flawed system. When J.K. Simmons starts doing his side investigating, which he's not supposed to do as a juror, but he's a retired cop, he starts to figure out that they didn't really have any other suspects. They locked in on him. They put him in jail. They put out the news that it's him. And the whole time, the guy's just sitting there in prison. Like, what the hell? He's an ex-drug affiliate, like a drug dealer. Not like a basic level drug dealer, but like one of the upper guys. So he's like already got a bad rep. And it just felt like they said, this is our guy. We're going to get him. We're going to close the case. We're going to make everyone feel satisfied. And then you get this other moment where you're like, hypothetically, if Nicholas Hoult was the guy who actually was the cause, you're thinking, do I want him to go to jail? No. Do I want this other guy to stay in prison for something he didn't do? It's incredible. So Clint Eastwood, and I got to give a shout out to Jonathan A. Abrams. Let's see what he's known for. Wow. His sole credit is one of the best written movies I've seen this year. Well, in 2024, because we're into 2025. Yeah. But bravo.
I've talked about it a couple times before. Hell of a Boss. You might also know, because it's a little bit more popular, Has Been Hotel, because it got picked up by Amazon. But for Hell of a Boss, they started, like, sometimes you'd have like 6 months between episodes, but they releasing them kind of very regularly now. Or if you look at the past couple episodes there on the side, 2 months ago, 1 month ago. Well, I wasn't really expecting to get it the end of the season this quickly, but they dropped the final episode, and I can just say, like, the last half of this season, not that the first half was bad at all, but there was such a large gap between the first half and second half because of her other show she was working on was being released then. But it's just so good, very entertaining. I cannot recommend this show enough. It's a really fun finale, and I believe it's the end of season 2, and there's going to be a total of 4 seasons, they said. So I'm just really looking forward to see where things kind of go from here. I won't say what it is because I don't want to spoil anything, but the show does one of my favorite things that a show can do where, it's not just, I guess I'll say this. It's not like, oh, we have a goal that we put in place in season 1, and then they don't reach that goal till season 4, or, the end of the final, that's the very end of the show. It's about like constant progression, which I really like. And the last thing I'll say about the show before we move on is what makes these episodes work so well is that the first season, for the most part, is not really like a story, like, let's say, from beginning to end. Like, think of it like The Witcher season 1. And this is why I actually was talking with my brother about this, because it's very similar with the books. The first 2 Witcher books are just a bunch of short stories. They're not like a full story all the way through. And it works so well because it's all about getting to know the characters. You understand who these characters are, so that way when the plot begins, you actually care about what's happening to them. And it's very much the case with this show, where the plot really has just been kicking in gear since the end of season 1 and throughout most of season 2. And it's very enjoyable because I'm so invested in these characters. And I cannot recommend Hell of a Boss enough. I actually recommend it even more than Hazbin Hotel. Hazbin Hotel felt very rushed, which is the opposite of this one. You get time to sit with these characters, whereas in Hazbin Hotel, I feel like the plot is like, we need to move, and we're going to skip all over this character stuff. But fantastic season finale. Can't wait for more. The anime, at least. We watched all the way through. We've talked so much about Dan Dan, I won't go too much deep into it. I'll just say I was slightly disappointed with where the season ended, because I feel like, because there's 12 episodes, the 11th episode should have been the final episode. It feels like we watched the first episode of season 2, like we're beginning the Evil Eye arc, and then the season just ended. And it's like, well, great. Now, if I didn't, if I was just watching the anime, be like, wow, I have to wait 6 months to figure out what happens next. And it's not like a cliffhanger season to season. No, it literally feels like I'll just say slight spoilers, which Dan will understand because he's read the thing.
Mm-hmm.
But it ended with the beginning of the bath scene.
Weird.
Yeah, like that's where the episode ends.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah. No, it's very, very strange why they chose to end it there. But
my mind is like, I'm going through the chapters and things. It's like, okay.
Yeah. No, it's like, because a new character shows up and they're going to do that, and it's like, you end, like, it would be perfect where the 11th episode ended, where it's like, okay, we're going to go do this thing.
Yeah.
And then we start to see them start to do it, and then it just ends.
Yep.
And it's like, the cliffhanger would be, the, hey, we're going to go do this thing, and then they do they kind of hook you into what that thing is.
Yeah.
But in the end, though, like, I'll say that is a fault of the anime, not Dan Dan itself, because obviously, the manga didn't have a big giant gap between it, just week to week, chapter to chapter.
Yeah.
But still, overall, outside of the whole voice actor debacle thing that happened, the show is a really, really good adaptation. Probably for me at least, the best anime I've watched this year. It just really nails the tone well, which Dan Dan's kind of a crazy tone. This was able to do. So I'm looking forward to the second half of the season, which I believe comes out in the summer. Konosuba season 3 came out a while ago, and I never watched it. We should watch that. So we watched the first half of Konosuba season 3. It's so enjoyable. If you like Konosuba at all, and you haven't watched season 3 for some reason, like I didn't, give it a go. It's just as funny, and reminded me where it's like, okay, this is, because the last Konosuba thing I watched was the Megumin spinoff, which was good, but it was lacking that, like, this sort of humor that Cosmo really brings to it. And I started watching this, like, there it is. Okay, it just works so well, and it's so entertaining. Have you watched season 3 at all?
No.
Okay. I won't say anything else. I won't even talk about what it's about. It's just more Konosuba, more stupid, but, the good kind of stupid. And it's fun.
Much as I love the show, the only thing is I got to be in the mood for it, because sometimes the characters are so insane that they're screaming. So I'm like, so I got to segment myself when I watch this. I got to be in the mood for crazy.
That's me, because that's why it took so long for me to watch it finally, because I was just like, oh, I'm not really in the mood for Konosuba right now. But
Yeah.
I'm so glad I did get into the mood that night, because it was so worth it.
Yeah. AEW World's End was this past Saturday. Really wanted to go. It was in Orlando, Florida, but it was on December 28th. Problem with things trying to travel on December 28th is that if I flew to Florida December 28th, it was like $550 round trip. If I flew to Florida 1 month later, it was like $80 round. So Christmas really blocked me from going to see this, but
you're stuck right between Christmas and New Year's, the best traveling times of or the worst travel times of the year.
So pay-per-view was awesome, start to finish. You had the Continental Classic wrap up the semifinals and the finals, which was absolutely incredible. You had start to finish. The AEW gets a bad rap for its weekly show. It's not as popular as WWE, and people can't understand that WWE has been around for 100 years, have generations of families to watch it, whether it's good or not.
Yeah.
AEW has been around since 2019. They've had ups and downs, but they just signed the Warner Brothers Discovery deal to broadcast it on Max, which is exactly 2 hours from now will be their debut on HBO Max.
Awesome.
The show is awesome. There were some returns. Kenny Omega came back. He's been out with diverticulitis for over a year. He thought his career was going to be over, but he's back. And the other guy is Adam Copeland, aka Edge, which they're going to start a feud with the big man in the middle here. So AEW is awesome. It's hard to go on X, FKA Twitter, to like talk to people about it, because every single conversation is flooded with idiots. WWE tards is what I call them, who just can't, if they really enjoyed their thing so much, they wouldn't bother you. I don't go on WWE's Twitter account because I don't care. I go on and I talk with people about AEW, but it's always flooded, and they're always going to have more fans, but it seems like they're so demented. And I know it's Twitter.
You can't have fun the way that you want to have fun.
Yeah.
You have to have fun the way that I want you to have fun.
Yeah. And if you're trying to like something that doesn't have as many followers as mine does, that means yours is bad and mine's good.
Mm.
So let me ask you this, Isaiah. What was a better movie, The Northman or Captain Marvel?
Obviously Captain Marvel. Didn't you see how much money went into it and how much money it made? That means it was the better movie.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's not like The Northman actually had good writing and good direction and good acting and a really unique and a fun a fun way to kind of like tell this story that you've heard before.
Yeah. And
there was passion behind it. No, that didn't matter at all.
Good word, passion.
That's what I was thinking, because that's what I've heard about AEW is just they have so much passion in it, and WWE feels so passionless now.
Yeah, it's WWE is 2024 Marvel, AEW is Nosferatu.
Yeah.
So, if you guys, anyone out there gets a chance, you haven't given it a shot, it's well worth it. It's a lot of fun. Starting on HBO Max tonight.
Alrighty.
Speaking of fun,
yeah, we have the weekend update Christmas joke
Don't let the fact that it's a Saturday Night Live tab fool you. This is actually fun.
Yeah, no, it's I had seen clips of these joke swaps like every now and then.
Like YouTube Shorts is what I saw them on.
But I saw this full video. I saw a clip from this video, and I was like, I gotta watch the full thing. And so I watched the full thing, and then I went back and I watched like all their previous ones. It's like, man, look, you can be funny. Yeah. You can have good jokes. It doesn't matter whether they're offensive or not. That's actually kind of what the point of this and what makes them so fun. The guy on the right, Michael Shea, makes the guy on the left, Colin Jost, tell racist jokes all the time. But it's funny because like most jokes, you know, he doesn't actually believe these things. It's just funny jokes. And what I really liked was then, like, the past couple times Colin Jost has made Michael Shea say stuff that a black man never would want to be caught dead saying. Like, last time he, like, was like, oh, speaking of bitches, I want to call out Kendrick Lamar. And he's like, what?
Yes.
No.
Yes. The question that I have for the world is, when did we start letting middle-aged women tell us what's funny? They're the least funny, the people who enjoy comedy the least. They're all like your English teacher from 9th grade. That is why things started to get out of control with this wokeness and the everyone's offended on behalf of other people.
Yeah.
This is the type of thing, if you can't laugh at this, now maybe you don't find a couple of things funny, but if you can't sit back and have a laugh, you got to look at yourself in the mirror, because this kind of stuff, not everything is funny. Not everything everyone says is funny. But this type of thing, these guys, they frame it as the other guys telling the writing the jokes. Maybe they did. But it's also, they could be sitting in a room together writing these jokes together, because they're jokes, and jokes are meant to detach you from the horrors of the world for 10 minutes.
It's just supposed to make you laugh.
Yeah.
Not because, oh, he said something that's racist. That's bad. That doesn't mean a joke that's racist is bad, because a lot of the time, some of my favorite humor is where it's like, you tell that joke because you know how stupid it is.
Yeah.
Where it's just
racist jokes don't condone racism.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of fun when people stop taking themselves so and just pull the sticks out of your asses. 2020 is over. Just get back to, not everything has to be fun, but let's get back to having some fun. And these guys are,
videos like this give me hope.
It's only from 10 days ago, so they've been doing this. They have their own YouTube channel. It's like Michael and Che or something like that.
Yeah,
where they release all these clips. Just go watch some, and just, nobody thinks the Holocaust is funny, but jokes about the Holocaust are funny. So my lovely wife for Christmas got me the Backbone, which they have the old Thunderbolt port. Make sure if you order this thing, you pick the port that fits with your phone. So newer iPhones have the USB-C just like the rest of the world, but older iPhones have the Thunderbolt. They do have the two versions. Now, what is this? It turns your phone basically into a Nintendo Switch. Why do I want this? Well, it's very annoying to try and play Genshin Impact, Honkai Star Rail, Zenless Zone Zero, any type of mobile game where you have to try and use the damn screen to like maneuver your character. But this, all it is, you plug it in. It has like a, I wish I had it with me. It pulls in, it plugs in, it snaps in, and then at the bottom, it has a charging port, I believe on the right side, that will charge your phone while it's plugged in. This doesn't need batteries. It's not Bluetooth. It's activated when you plug the phone into the port. There's a PlayStation edition to make it look like the Sony setup. You have a lightning cable and USB-C, so make sure when you pick it, you pick the correct one. Sending it back, or it also has a headphone jack. What a concept. So
what? And that's crazy. Headphone jacks, you don't see that anymore. Right?
No. It
especially
has
on phones.
Screenshot button. It has the home button, menu for the like the settings of the, you can switch the where the buttons are laid out. It has like L2, R2, all that stuff. The PlayStation one's set up just to look like a PlayStation controller. So with the square triangle, circle X. It's fun. You can also play remote play. I don't know how well it works. I haven't tried it yet. So if you get the PlayStation edition, you can presumably play Elden Ring on the damn thing. So
yeah, whatever game is eligible with remote play.
And it works very well. The buttons are like responsive. I wish the front facing buttons had a little bit more click to them. They're kind of like a soft press, but other than that, it's It's a little bit on the expensive side. I believe it was on sale for Black Friday and that kind of thing. But it's fun. If you play mobile games, it's worth it. Or if you want to try remote play. But don't take my word on that. I have not tried the remote play yet.
One last thing here for me. I was recommended this video. It's called Why Majora's Mask's Blue Dog Took 25 Years to Win the Race. The video pretty much goes into everything. I don't want to just recap the entire video because I want you to watch it. But it's this really cool piece of like old school Zelda, not so much lore, but like history of stuff that's been happening like in the speedrunning community, but then just the general idea of like by the way, this was really cool. He goes into like the math of the coding of the game to explain some of this stuff. But it's just a really fun information and actually education-filled video that also talks about a really cool, super niche topic. I mean, it's in the title there, but you might be saying like, oh, what's the blue dog have to do with anything? It's just a fun watch. 21 minutes. You'll learn some stuff. Not that it's like, oh, because it's educational, but it's just really cool to see like, okay, why is the blue dog winning the race such a big deal? And you get to kind of learn the more technical reasons why the video game works the way it does. And it's a very fun way that they tell it too, because you're going to be watching the movie and thinking like, okay, it's just about him winning the race, even though it might just be like a glitch or something. But it's not just about that. It's a really cool video from beginning to end.
Nice. All right, your preview for next week. I talked a bit about it.
Yeah, there's a couple I forgot to put on here, but I do have Nosferatu and Sonic Hedgehog 3. Sonic Hedgehog 3 I'll be watching in like 3 hours with my brother. So we'll be seeing that then. Nosferatu I'll be watching. I have a couple friends where we always watch all the vampire movies together. We watched the one where they're like on the boat, like the last voyage of the Demis True or something. And we're going to be watching this one together. I might check out the Juror number 2 thing there. And then I didn't really talk about it much now. I'll do it next time, but I got Astrobot for Christmas and I've been playing that a ton. So I'll have more to say about that stuff next time.
I'm going to talk about comic books next week. Actual real American comic books. So
and good comics, right?
I'm hoping so. Now Scott Snyder is one of my favorite writers, and yeah. I really fell off American comic books back in probably 2020. Really, I fell off of it a lot into like 2017-ish, but hard, like quit totally in 2020. I saw that Scott Snyder had a different version of Batman without the mansion, without the money, without the butler. What's left is the absolute Dark Knight. So that had me intrigued. A new Batman logo that very, very different from what we're used to. And Scott Snyder is the man. Right. But so what I was going to do is Absolute Batman this week, Absolute Superman next week, and Absolute Wonder Woman the following week. But since I didn't get around to reading it, I'm just going to do all three. Without the fortress, so it's the same concept. Without the fortress, without the family, without the home, left is Absolute Man of Steel. So let's see what Wonder Woman said. See, so it's all. I don't know exactly what we're getting from that, but I'm intrigued, and I haven't been intrigued about an American comic book in a very long time. I think I might go to the comic store and grab the physical, but we'll see.
Yeah, that definitely is very intriguing.
I don't know what this DC All-In is. Maybe it's a new bunch of side stories, or maybe they rebooted everything again. Yeah. I'm not getting back into comic books enough to figure out what that's about, but I'm going to read all three of these probably on my trip to Dallas. So
yeah, Scott Snyder's at New York Comic Con every year, and it's always cool to see. Like, I got him to sign my new 52 Batman like volume I had.
Nice.
Because I think it was you that had recommended me, or somebody did, but I bought all those Batman volumes of New 52.
Which one? Death of the Family,
well,
like
all of them,
or
his entire
Court of Owls?
Yeah, so it started with Court of Owls, then it goes to Death of the Family, then there's a middle arc there that my brain is forgetting right now, and then it goes to Endgame, and then it goes to the Super Heavy and Blue stuff. But it's all just very well written. It was the tag team though of Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo.
Yeah.
but Scott Snyder was the writer, and I mean the art was fantastic. But what really I think made it so enjoyable was the story. And
Kelly
just that they feel like
Thompson
they understand stuff.
is a decent writer. She's not really one of my favorites, but Scott Snyder and Jason Aaron is also underrated. So my only problem is I don't know how, like, if I like it, I don't know how consistent I can say now that these are $5 a piece.
Oh, jeez.
It's unbelievable what they're
How many
doing with
pages
this.
is it?
Probably 24.
That's crazy.
34. Ooh. All right, so that's going to do it for us. Thank you for watching. Happy New Year again. We got to add some more. We got to be more consistent with this channel and see what we can do. So we will catch you guys later. Peace.